Welcome to STARCARD Podcast. Here at STARCARD Podcast, we get a glimpse at the age of Aquarius ahead of us. We also examine the worlds of education and workplace ethics. My name is Breakaway Ray. I like talking about the breakaway civilizations and breaking away from the one we're in now. Do you know that you have God inside of you? Did you know that you could do magic? Did you know you could connect with the spirit world anytime and in many ways? Whether your answers were yes or no to those questions, you're in the right place. Today, I've got a live tarot throw for you on September 26th. Is that correct? Yes. September 26th, 2025. We're going to go to the TAROTPEDIA and take a look at another celebrity from the 20th century. We're going to invite the tarot world to comment on our expanded consciousness and awareness of the old world, something we built up during this month of Schooltember. Yeah, I did say that right, Schooltember. But also, hey, did you know what? I got 4 cards for you on a Friday. That's right, 4 tarot cards with a message from the tarot world just for you, whether you're watching live or catching the recording later. I know it's kind of early. And these 4 cards, I'm giving you 2 for now and 2 for later, okay? Let's go to the tarot cam. Looking good. Almost there, hang on. Great. So we're going to give you 2 cards for now and 2 cards to go. I know the tarot world is as anxious as I have been to turn on the camera and connect with our audience. All the great magicians hanging out in the chat and spectating quietly from the side. Hopefully I'm giving you all a smile, giving you something to rev up your day. Thanks for inviting me to your place. I came dressed up and prepared. I'm bringing you 2 cards for now. All right, yeah, how about those 2 cards? And then 2 cards for later. For everyone tuning in, whenever you're tuning in, thanks for tuning in to STARCARD Podcast. Ooh, that's a brand new deck. That feels pretty cool, but it's always cool. Here you go, 2 cards for now. Wait, let's get this set up correctly. There we go. 2 cards for now. Here we go. Wow. It's pretty striking. Turn them over at the same time like that. So you have the High Priestess and the King of Pentacles. And the High Priestess talks about sacred knowledge and intuition. And the King of Pentacles, he's Mr. Ka-ching, sitting on top of the world, managing the currency of his desires. Let's see what I got wrapped up in the pastry box over here. See if there's some kind of connection. Here are 2 cards to go for you, everybody. Oh, wow. Nice combo. All right, great. I want to say good morning to the tarot world. Thanks for making my early morning hours interesting. So for later on, everybody, the tarot world is saying, with the Hanged Man, take a different look at things, have another look at things. And then also when you do, guess what? You're going to see a lot more than you did before with the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands, look at how high up that guy is. He could see over everything, and he could see like the pyramids on the Giza plain. So I don't even know where he's standing. It must be some tall plateau that he can see the tops of the pyramids. Those things are gigantic. So anyway, for later on, guess what? When you take a different look at things, probably because it's going to be the weekend, you're probably going to be able to stretch out your emotional eyeballs, and you're going to be able to see forever and take a breather. So I'm right with you. 2 cards to go. Enjoy your relaxation period. Line up with your higher self. That sounds pretty cool to me. Meanwhile, I wonder what's inside this donut. Secret knowledge. I'm going to read what's on the card, see if I can find a connection. I'm getting my glass out. One moment, please. Let's throw a little light on the subject, a little incandescent light. Oh, That looks even nicer now. All right, I'm cool with that. So the High Priestess card says intuition, sacred knowledge, the subconscious, divine feminine, trust yourself, purity, high morals, sensitivity. And then the King of Pentacles reads wealth, business, leadership, security, discipline, abundance, prosperity, generosity. Oh, yeah. You know what? Maybe during the work week, we feel we're a cog in a wheel. We fill a role. This is your time to stretch out your consciousness, as well as manage the household, right? So I guess the tarot world is saying, I'm going to dare to say you could even ask for help with that, right? You got a whole bunch of chores you got to take care of. You got a whole lot of things on your mind. All right, so go after it with gusto. And then, let the spirit world know you're asking for help, even just to sort things out in your mind, right? Help me sort things out in my mind. And, something that struck me just a little while ago before I turned on the camera was that a lot of times you have to invite the universe to make the change, and you have to say, I give permission for change. So anyway, those are some of my tips for whatever they're worth. I'm just some guy throwing tarot cards on the internet. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this delicious pastry. 2 cards for now, the High Priestess and the King of Pentacles. You enjoy both worlds while you have the chance, even if you do have to work today or on the weekend, or make time for it. And then meanwhile, yeah, that's kind of a nice pair. Take a look at things differently, and then boy, you're going to see a lot more. Great, wonderful. Thanks for letting me share those with you. This, by the way, is the castle that's in the Mr. Breakaway bookmark, and that's that castle in Bavaria. I just throw that up there in case anyone was curious. I took this picture first, and then I said, yo, you know what? I wonder if I can get a picture of myself, because we were standing on a bridge that overlooked the castle. And you know what? I would like to talk about this castle now that I have a new perspective on how you build things like this. Let me set this down a second. I want to give these cards a toss and say, you know what? Thank you, Tarot World. Nice work in the pastry kitchen there. You're making me look good. I appreciate your help. We'll be back. Okay. So while I'm focusing on this picture, again, another stone building, exquisite design, right? And then you can also see that, you can see some of the basement part there in the center right of the picture. And that's very well developed as well. That's a gargantuan thing, to have like all that material shipped up that hill. And that's just the outside of the building. I've actually been inside that building, and it's remarkable as well on the inside. So incredible craftsmanship and, materials, even if they were brought from nearby, that's still hard to get that up that hill. I wonder if, I think the guy's name was Ludwig. I think he was some kind of royalty down there in Bavaria. I wonder if Ludwig hired people to make paintings and to write about how, the building process went. I don't remember that part. It may exist. Yes, it may exist. But I remember, he had a lot to do with the design. But I think it's supposed to look older than it really is. Was it 17 or 1800s? Nevertheless, fun castle to look at. There's a certain entertainment company that has a branch in Anaheim, California, and one out there in Orlando, Florida. I think you know which one I'm talking about. There's it's famous for some cartoons. Anyway, their castle is modeled after this one, with its little turrets up there, those towers. All right, so let's set that down a second. I got notes, everybody. So let's go back up here. All right. So, oh yeah, okay, great. I'm thinking a bunch of things at once while I'm getting ready to talk. Let's get this light on a second. All right. So we've been having fun. I've been having fun with what I call the Tarotpedia. When I invite the tarot world to give us like a biography on somebody. And I know that I'm going to be sad for a long time if we can't recover the Babe Ruth episode from this week. I guess it stopped recording after 2 minutes and 23 seconds, and that's what's posted. And I, by the way, continued to talk for 38 more minutes, and I thought we were all on fire. Anyway, I'm still standing by, hoping that we can recover it. But you know what? I can't get my hopes up because yesterday is gone. Tomorrow, I'm going to capitalize and worry about what I'm doing right now. After all, the camera's pointed right at me. But anyway, we took a look at Babe Ruth. We took a Lindbergh, and then I thought, well, who would be another person from the 20th century? And you could point at a lot of these people who have gained celebrity and say, wow, they all had some kind of rough going when they were younger, and then they kind of like turn it around, they turn it upside down, and all of a sudden they're on top of the world in a way, right? So I came up with a list of people, some celebrities, and I might try and take a look at their biographies, invite the tarot world to tell me about these people someday, just not today. But here are some of the names I came up with: Elvis Presley, Judy Garland, Buster Keaton, the filmmaker, Keaton, okay, Bing Crosby, Amelia Earhart, Fernando Valenzuela, pitcher from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Malcolm X, Chuck Berry, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, you Bader believe it, Kurt Cobain, and Francis Gary Powers, the guy that was shot down, brought down. He was behind the lines in the Soviet Union. It was a spy incident from, I think it was late 1960s, early 70s. So anyway, I'm going to go today instead with very end of the 20th century with a man named Kurt Cobain. Turns out, Kurt Cobain. Yeah, let me get my TAROTPEDIA table set up. Kurt Cobain was the singer and guitar player from the band Nirvana, and Nirvana still plays. No, actually, excuse me. The drummer from Nirvana plays in a new band now called the Foo Fighters, and they also have a great history in the recording industry. A very talented man, Dave Grohl is his name. So, but anyway, we're going to focus on Kurt Cobain. Sadly, he passed away of suicide in 1994. But he's only a couple of months younger than me. He was born in February of 67. So anyway, Kurt Cobain, talented musician, had a lot of style, but and I don't know anything about him. Again, like I picked these. I mean, I know some things, right? But I didn't look them up, is what I'm trying to say. Before the show, I'm not going to, check the computer and see what they have to say unless I think it's something that's going to develop my tarot throwing question, right? So anyway, I'll just tell you what I know about him. Again, lead singer. He has a daughter, and that's all I can remember right now. But I wonder if we could still try the inside-outside thing. Maybe I'll look them up after the show, because my whole thing has been, with the tarot cards, for sure, I'm trying to demonstrate that, you can throw cards for yourself, not just these celebrities, not just this tabloid stuff, right? If you want that, go buy a magazine. What I'm trying to say, because they could speculate just as much as anybody else. But I'm trying to show you that, I've done this a bunch of times myself in the notebook that I showed you earlier on in earlier STARCARD podcast episodes. I said, show me my outside world. Show me what it was like yesterday. Show me what it's like right now. What's it going to look like later? And I would throw cards and they would get it right. I'm all, okay, well then, why don't you explain to me what's going on the inside of my world? And again, the tarot world wouldn't hold back. It would show an accurate reflection. So I'm trying to encourage people to get your own decks and explore, the most important person there is, that's you. Because we're trying to develop your consciousness. Nevertheless, I'm happy to share this. I don't want to call it a parlor trick. I say that, with quotation marks, big fat quotation marks, because This is a blessing. The tarot world is totally going out of their way to make sure that we get the right messages and we get the right information. But the other thing that I'm noticing, especially on the Babe Ruth Day, was that, the tarot world was taking what we were trying to find out about, Babe Ruth and his inside world and his outside world, and it was turning into a whole story about how you plan your lives before you come down here, and it projects your outside world. Anyway, it's pretty heavy stuff. But anyway, let's do something for entertainment's sake. Let's see what the cards say. If Breakaway Ray is right, maybe there's some kind of message we can glean about the great musician, Kurt Cobain. So here we go. Hey, Tarot World, the floor is yours. We can't wait to see what you can show us. I want to share with everybody who's tuning in that one of my favorite things of all time was the Nirvana Unplugged on MTV, when Nirvana went on MTV and recorded like a Christmas holiday, bunch of acoustic songs. Really cool to play when the Christmas tree is on during the holidays. Anyway, that's one of my favorite things. So maybe the tarot world could share with us, 2 timelines, if possible, about Kurt Cobain. What was it like for his outer world, and how are things going with the inner world? If the inner world is really, projecting into the outer world and manipulating the reality that way. What's going on? Ooh, okay. Welcome and thank you, Kurt Cobain. Hey, if you want to say anything, you're welcome anytime. We're exploring 2 aspects of your biography. That would be your outside world and your inside world. You're a passionate artist. Spent a lot of hours practicing. Hey, thanks for sharing your story with us. Okay, and then we're going to, no, we are. We're going to take one more card. Okay. So this is for entertainment purposes only. I hope you all enjoy my circus act. Me and my self-deprecating humor. Well, this is really incredible. I never thought I'd be doing something like this. I never heard anyone doing anything like this before. So anyway, here we go. Let's see if the cards tell a story, right? All right, so first of all, guess who's back? It's the Page of Wands. And the Page of Wands says limitless potential. Well, yeah, he did have limitless potential. He was so young. And I think he only recorded like 3 or 4 albums. I had him on cassette back in the early 90s. The 9 of Pentacles. We're talking about Kurt Cobain's outer world. The 9 of Pentacles talks about the fruits of his labor. The 7 of Wands talks about a challenge. Oh, wow. And then, is this correct? I like to double check before I say so. Let me double check this. Yeah. And the Knight of Cups is the Knight in Shining Armor card. He had limitless potential. And the fruits of his labor stand up to time, because he was a Knight in Shining Armor for the grunge movement. Grunge, Grunge. It was up there in the Pacific Northwest of the United States of America, an artistic scene involving flannel shirts and long haircuts. That's Breakaway Ray's version. Check it, look it up for yourselves, right? But anyway, for sure, that looks like a picture of Kurt Cobain. Yeah, stands up to time. Limitless potential. Boy, I hope it's not too sad a story over here on the inside. So the Chariot indicates movement. The Chariot also has those 2 cats, those 2 sphinxes. Look, there's a white cat and a black cat. Maybe there's a shadow self, and he had to corral, both his artistic and his shadow self together. It's already sounding dramatic. Oh, dude. The Wheel of Fortune reversed. The Wheel of Fortune reversed. Let me, I don't know how that happened. So let's take a look at Wheel of Fortune reversed here. Bad luck, no control, resistance to change, breaking cycles, negative phase. I mean, we should have just stopped at bad luck, but you know what? No control also sounds like there was a problem there. Those of you that know about Kurt Cobain's biography. And then what would that indicate on the inside? And that might indicate, resistance to change. As if there was a chance for change to take place, and perhaps he resisted it. Perhaps. I'm trying to read a story here. And then the moon. And then you have it's the other two guys in the band singing to Kurt's spirit, right? Now that he's gone. And his spirit, nevertheless, charges forward with the Knight of Swords. We can still listen to Kurt Cobain and share his energy. So much fun. That guy rocks the house. And I hope I picked a nice one over here. I want to say thanks very much for the Tarot World for that lovely picture, that lovely biography of both sides. Oh, yeah. It's the Five of Cups, and it's the card of disappointment. And yeah, wasn't it disappointing? Well, that's a little too intense there. But thanks very much. Wow. All right. Well, thanks everyone for following along with that. And I'm going to give these cards a toss. And guess what? I still have more to talk about. I still got another throw coming. Wow. Thank you. Let me check my notes real quick. Oh, yeah. So, don't forget to go to the description and check the link that says Breakaway Ray, the Bounty Hunter. Because in that video, which you can also find at STARCARD podcast, I just put the link in the description, Breakaway Ray, the Bounty Hunter, I do talk about this whole cloning concept that we've been talking about this week. And I pretend that there's a billionaire who escaped prosecution by, pretending that he died. But, cloning technology is omnipresent, especially if you're in the Billionaires Club. So anyway, I invite you to check that out if you would like some more information about why I'm kind of like focused on that subject. But anyway, I thought that would be a great, fun, science fiction-y kind of subject to talk about this week. And I guess, tomorrow for me is Saturday, and that's going to give me a chance to prepare some lesson plans for the last week of School-tember, opening up onto a new month whose nickname I'm going to reveal later. Okay, let's clean up the desk here. Sweet. Wow. Still blowing me away a little bit there. a little dramatic, very dramatic. Okay, where am I going there? I'm going back to my notes, everybody. One moment, please. Just making sure I don't lose anything. Okay, very good. So we spent a lot of time talking about those old world buildings, and I'm probably not done talking about them. Nevertheless, how do we take the knowledge about the civilization that came before us and apply it when we barely understand it? How does it really apply to us in the first place? And well, it's going to be hard for society as a whole, to integrate with what's going on out there until we really know what's going on down here. That's a nice brief way of saying it. So I'm going to invite the tarot world to give me some cues about how we can wrap up our conversation today, because it is Friday. We're not going to assign any homework on this, okay? But if you want to, do some of the reading, always in the descriptions, almost always, I've posted a whole bunch of links about civilization development. That would be the first penny. I can't remember this. There's two pennies in the description. One's Penny Bradley. One is Penny somebody. I can't remember that penny's name, but she talks about civilization development. So, it just gives you something to think about. Meanwhile, we're going to invite the tarot world to help us wrap up that conversation because, we are. Here's my challenge to you, everybody. My challenge to you is I want you to track down one past life you've had, and I want you to track down one altar you currently have off planet Earth somewhere. This is for entertainment purposes only. I'm giving you an imagination, an intellectual exercise. Can you find a life you had in a previous lifetime? I'm not saying find it on the internet like I did. Go to STARCARD podcast and check out the Psychic Liz Cross folder. Okay, we met up with Sarah Adelia Wright. She was one of my previous lives. I'm not saying you can track one down on Google, okay? But I am encouraging you. Can you find a previous life? I'm speaking to people who watch STARCARD podcast. They probably already know about their past lives. So, and when you go astral traveling, when you go to sleep, are you keeping track of what you're doing on other planets? Because your consciousness is in multiple places. Short story. And that's not what we're taught. We're taught that anything we can't see doesn't exist, right? If it's invisible, it's not for real. So I'm inviting you to expand your minds, because you're not going to hear this kind of stuff in the classroom. You're not going to hear it on TV. So anyway, it's coming from someone who's got, a college education, and I wear a tie. So let's invite the tarot world now to wrap up the conversation. And we want to thank the tarot world for pointing us in the right direction, giving us the thumbs up. Like, this is the stuff you do need to pay attention to over the weekend. I'll try to refine that message and boil it down for you. Okay, but let's go to the tarot cam now. And one more time, there is somebody who wants to complete a message to us about what we've been studying this week. I want to say hi and thank you to those people who are watching right now. And I know they know, when I see the little soda bubble hearts popping up in the chat, lets me know that, you're watching and you like what you hear, and that's great. I want to thank the subscribers so much. Again, so motivated to know that there's so many of you who want to hear what I have to say. Well, anyway, the tarot world now wants to share a repopulating cities, how common it is, how we're all, fish in an aquarium. We're the new fish, right? Remember yesterday's joke? Old fish asks the new fish, how's the water? And the new fish asks, what's water? To what's really going on in our aquarium. And we want to thank the tarot world for guiding us in the right direction. All right, we were going to go that far. Here we go. Okay, thank you very much. This is for entertainment purposes only. If you want a reading in the second part of the show, which is coming up momentarily, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to type in the chat in all capital letters, tarot, please. It helps me to see what's going on. I get to read the chat after the show. I just make a list and then we go to the audience reading. So anyway, here we go, everybody. What's going on with the old world integrating us into the age of the Aquarius? The Queen of Pentacles is the working parent card. Let's see what it says here. Nurturing, practical, providing financially. I would say practical and providing financially, right? The old world had free energy and free transportation. You know what? And then somehow somebody said, we're going to take it and we're going to sell it back to you. So I agree. All right. I hear what you're saying there. It's valuable for us to learn about it because we have to take stock of what has been stolen from us. Yeah, those are strong words. Okay. Next up, the Two of Pentacles talks about multiple priorities. And the Seven of Pentacles, that's the Eight. The Eight of Pentacles talks about diligence, passion, high standards, apprenticeship, mastery, skill development, and repetitive tasks. Hang on, let me see the next card and see if I can string a message together about why it's so important for us to learn about the old world so it can help us integrate into the age of Aquarius and the days of people on Earth's surface thinking we're the only ones around. You know, it has come to an end. We're right there. Anyway, the next card is it's the King of Wands. That's the big picture. I think that's the tarot world saying what I just said. You know what? You should stop the video and go back 45 seconds, and then before I flip that card, 45 seconds before I flip the card, hear what I just said, and then the King of Wands says, yeah, that's the big picture. Okay, so, you know, it's important, you know, it's stolen from us because that's going to enable us to become wealthier and more practical as we go forward. We're going to have to manage two worlds. It's going to be like having a part-time job. You know, it's like, you know, having a new addition to your family, a new addition to your household. We're going to have to juggle two things. You know, the regular 20th/21st century style living, plus, you know, let's look around because there's going to be big changes. Also, do we want big changes? We're going to have to work at it. And we have to be diligent about it because you have to look inward. You have to take care of your consciousness first. You know, if you don't control your consciousness, someone else will. Bottom line, that's the big picture. Wow, that's only 50% of the message. Bam, let's go. All right, next up. Oh, the Nine of Swords. Yeah, it's a little anxiety generating when you think about I'm not just the person whose name shows up on my driver's license. That's not just me. I've had past lives, a bunch of them, maybe. And then the Ace of Wands says we have to recognize that there is magic. Yeah, it's going to be disappointing. You know, everyone's going to have a version of an ego death when we see that, you know, the world around us has just been like generated and it didn't need to be this way. Well, all the different ways, you know, we get taxed and then our taxes are, you know, they don't actually benefit us. Anyway, you know, I'm going to get to the geopolitical blah, 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 because we got to pay attention to what's behind us. And that would be, you know, we still got a couple of cups standing up there. And we're going to be wiser and we're going to have a lot more tools, says the Nine of Wands. And then we'll be ready for that last go. But I watched those since I was a kid. But nevertheless, watch right? And then let your imagination wonder, well, you know, how close were those guys? And you know, like that. We're talking about elementary school kind of futuristic consciousness. Anyway, a fun message. It is Friday. You know, let's give ourselves a break, but also let's pat ourselves on the back because I hope we all like follow along, okay, with the things that were on my mind this week. Let me give these cards a toss. I'm so excited because now it's time for audience readings. I see Elisa R, number 3. I see your name already. Tarot, please. Thanks for the capital letters. Hi, Elisa R. Let me get my notebook. All right. And then let's see. Oh, hey, Mrs. NW5. Hi, Judy. I see your number 1. And Silent Dreamer. Hello, Silent Dreamer. That was fun yesterday, huh? All right, let's go Silent Dreamer number 2. Now I'm going to scan up and down in the chat, see if anyone else, you know, wanted a reading. Give me a second, please. Okay, so I see 3. Oh, hello. Hey, Justice Woman. Welcome back. Is this camera cool? Okay. Sure, Justice Woman. I got you. I'll write you down. Someone said 1 card, please. There we go. Judy said that. Okay, 1 card. Thanks, Judy. Hello, son. Welcome to the show. Thanks a lot. Sure. I'll write down your name right now. And I wonder if there's anyone else. Well, anyway, I have a lot of friends in the chat, and if I'm missing someone, they'll usually help out and type a helpful message for all of us. So, but yeah, these are the names I have so far. I have Judy wants 1 card, Silent Dreamer, Lisa R, Justice Woman, and okay, great. Also, I think I need to take a tea break. 1 moment, please. I think I'm going to be redoing the studio back here. That is pretty funny with the tie and the shorts. Yeah, we weren't supposed to see that part. All right, so great. The list still checks out. Here we go, everybody. I gotta get that right with the finger. Where is it? Let's go to the tarot cam. All right. All right, Tarot World. Well done. Thank you so much. That was a very dramatic and encouraging set of readings so far. As usual, you guys hit it out of the park. I want to thank all the spiritual masters and teachers who are sending us all these good lessons. You must be doing it for a reason. People keep coming back to this show. It's pretty awesome. These cards are for Judy. Right. Judy wants 1 card. How about a card for Judy, please? 1 card for Judy. All right. How's that to start your Friday? I think you're at the end of Friday, aren't you? It's going to be a great weekend. It's going to be magical. There's magic in the air. You're going to make the magic happen. Let's go ahead and read what it says on the Ace of Wands, just to check out and see if there's a special message in the words. The terms listed on the Ace of Wands card: new project, inspiration, urge to create, willpower, desire, power, potential beginnings, new opportunities, and growth. Yeah, great. Thrive. Have a great weekend. Awesome. Thank you, Tarot World. Thank you, Judy. I appreciate you always asking for a reading. That's awesome. I love the practice. Next up, Silent Dreamer. Yeah, how about yesterday? Silent Dreamer, she gets a tarot message, and one of the terms on the card is her name. That was pretty cool. That's pretty, that's the Tarot World showing off for you. All right, let's have a fun reading for our friend, Silent Dreamer, please. Fun, helpful message for Silent Dreamer. Thanks a lot. All right, you ready to go already? All right, great. For Silent Dreamer. These cards are for Silent Dreamer. For Silent Dreamer. All right, this is for entertainment purposes only. Thanks a lot, Silent Dreamer. Here we go. Let's have some fun. Ka-ching! It's a 10 of Pentacles. Let's read what it says. Wealth, financial security, family, long-term success, contribution. Oh, it sounds like weekend plans, fun weekend plans. Was there an RV involved? Oh, sweet. The Queen of Cups is here. going to be great hanging out with the family. The Queen of Cups says compassion, comfort, calm, nurturing, healing, emotionally stable, intuitive, caring. Okay, you got both things going on. I mean, it looks like, we have what we need. The universe has provided, and now we get to love it and love each other while we're all together. Here comes the weekend. I'm making pancakes tomorrow morning, everybody. Okay, make sure you wake up on time. And then the Six of Wands talks about public recognition. Let's go to the next row there. Let's see what's going on all together. Oh, how nice. Talking about, making pancakes with the family. Here's the Six of Cups, and that's the nostalgia card. And it says familiarity, happy memories, reminiscing, childhood memories, innocence, joy, and nostalgia. Next up, the Eight of Cups is the walk away card, but you're walking away, in a healthy manner. In a healthy manner. Well, yes, let me read what's on the card, but I think I might have a notion about where this is going. The Eight of Cups, disappointment, abandonment, withdrawal, escapism, walking away, leaving behind. And then next is the Moon. And the Moon talks about illusion, mystery, dreams, intuition, fear, anxiety, subconscious, and premonitions. You know what? I'm going to do my best to make a story or string the sentences together as best as I can. But maybe you already see like the dynamic better than I do about what might be going on. If these cards mean anything. At the same time, my job here at STARCARD Podcast is to kind of make this entertaining and inspiring. So, you know what? Again, we're getting ready for that big pancake breakfast tomorrow before we take our trip. We're going to be making some memories. We're taking a trip. We're leaving it behind. And then who knows, what dreams await us. Wow. It does sound like an RV trip. We haven't been in this campground before. Anyway, rock on, Silent Dreamer. Yeah, all right, great. I appreciate your comment in the chat there. Lets me know that, we both had fun looking at the cards. I do appreciate you inviting me to read. Thanks a lot. Next up, it's, Elisa R. All right. Oh, look what I cut for you there, Elisa. Okay, great. We're off to a good start. Anyway, thanks, Tarot World. Nice show for Silent Dreamer. And I bet you have one for Elisa R. also. Thank you very much. Please show us what we need to see. Please tell us what we need to hear. How about a fun, helpful, fun message there for Elisa R. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Exactly. There we go. All right, okay. These cards for Elisa R. And then we're going to take one more over there. Great. This ought to be fun. They usually are fun. I'm having fun. Okay, here we go. First up, it's the Wheel of Fortune. That's talks about fate. It talks about luck. Luck is good. Luck is bad. Luck is luck. It's written in the stars. It was supposed to happen that way. Even if you do try. So Wheel of Fortune, good luck, karma, life cycles, destiny, turning point, change, inevitable fate, ups and downs, unpredictable. Next, the Nine of Pentacles. Well, it could be good luck. The Nine of Pentacles says fruits of your labor, but that also means, you work toward it. So it's your destiny to be in this comfortable position to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Wow. And then it just keeps getting better. And now that you have, I got to say, this kind of sounds like me a little bit too much. But now that you can take a breather, happy Friday. Now you can see forever. You can do a little long-term planning, says the Page of Wands, with his limitless potential. But let's go ahead and read what it says on the card. It says inspiration, ideas, discovery, limitless potential, free spirit, exploration, excitement, and freedom. Well, even before you can like get in the car or get on the train or get a plane ticket or whatever, you got to come up with the idea. You got to come up with a plan. But yeah, you can go anywhere. Certainly, if you're an astral traveler, the universe is your oyster. So let's go to the second row here. The Ace of Swords. There's some truth for you. The Ace of Swords reads, mental clarity, breakthroughs, new ideas, success, sharp mind, new conflict. I like how it's talking about the mind again, because we're making a decision. What do we do with our resources? We're ahead of the game. Okay, with our sharp mind, we're gonna have a breakthrough, a brainstorm through meditation. Says the Four of Swords, which also represents rejuvenation. Again, we're talking about thriving in our own lives. And then while you're enjoying the fruits of your labor, the Four of Pentacles says, don't spend unwisely, pinch your pennies. The Four of Pentacles, be frugal. You can make it last, right? You don't know how long you're going to live. Again, I'm sorry, I should have directed that at myself there, because I got a long way to go, so I understand. Anyway, hey, Elisa R., here's a special bonus card at the end for you. And we're going to turn it into a positive message. The Four of Pentacles, the Four of Cups. The guy's got all four cups there. He's looking at the three of the cups on earth. He shouldn't forget that he's got that fourth cup, that spirit world, always there, ready to give it to him. All he's got to do is ask for it. All he's got to do is pay attention to it. The universe is right there. Anyway, the spirit world is right there for him, even if we can't see it. The Four of Cups, meditation, contemplation, apathy, reevaluation, and disconnected. Maybe if you make your decision after meditating on it, okay, you might think better of it, okay, because you're reevaluating your plan. Everyone has to make in-flight corrections. Teachers know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you got to alter your whole lesson because the kids didn't learn whatever it was they were supposed to learn the first time. So anyway, I hope that was fun and helpful. Oh, yeah, okay, I see your message now, Lisa R. Thank you for that helpful comment in the chat. I appreciate, yeah. Pull the string on my back, and I just keep on talking. And a lot of people have no idea what I'm talking about, because I was born in the middle of the 20th century, and we had these dolls where you would pull the string on their back, and they would play a little recording of whatever that character said. So anyway, next up, thank you for the help with that, Elisa R. and Tarot World. This is for Justice Woman. All right, Justice Woman, back in the house. Thanks for joining us. Oh, Stephanie Clark. I see Stephanie's name, and I'm going to write down Stephanie's name before I continue. And then you know what? If there's someone who requested it before Stephanie, I will include them. But otherwise, Stephanie may end up being my last reading for today. So anyway, we're going to move on to Justice Woman. Okay, wait, we have another one. Aratrick, Zebronics. So tell you what, for right now, I'm just going to call you AZ, if that's okay, or Mr. Z. So I'll include you, Mr. Z, and then I will take a better look at your question. I appreciate your comment and your thoughtful request. So it looks like a fun challenge. But we got a couple of people in front of you. Oh, and wait, I see now Justice Woman. Good. Thanks for helping me focus here, Justice Woman. Ooh. Hey, Justice Woman, I'm going to do the best I can here, but when will I get a job and get to move out? I'm going to say, before we throw the cards, that every day is a chance to find one. And I wonder if there's of course, I would always, on STARCARD podcast, I'm always going to recommend that you check with the spirit world, and you can even start with a call and response. Find yourself in a quiet place where you're imagining, all the things around you are not that important, but don't forget the question that you have. When your mind is clear enough, when you think you can hear a response like an echo, ask yourself, turn inward and say, ask your question. And, depending on how much you practice it, you're going to hear a kind of an answer. It's going to sound like it's your own imagination trying to solve the problem. But yeah, again, it's your imagination, it's your intuition trying to help you solve the problem. But meanwhile, it sounds like things are in such close quarters. I wonder if there is someone you can consult with in the real world, because this show is for entertainment purposes only. Nevertheless, I'm going to do the best I can to throw some tarot cards and turn into some kind of inspirational and directional thing for your situation. I appreciate your thoughtful comment. Thanks for this practice. This is for Justice Woman. These cards are for Justice Woman. Talking about employment and relocation. Thank you, Justice Woman, for inviting me to help you. Okay. And, I do the best I can to turn these into inspirational and fun, helpful stories. So anyway, I hope we're all entertained at minimum. Here we go, Justice Woman. So yeah, we're talking about how you want to change your world. And that's what the Tower card talks about, changing your world. And then, yeah, you're talking about then having a new opportunity. But I would suggest, this is the Page of Pentacles. I'm going to read what both of these cards say in a minute. But then, you're looking for that new opportunity, but you're the one also that, you got to go out and seek it and create it in lots of ways. So let's see if there's clues on the cards for us, Justice Woman. The Tower card, sudden change. So it's sudden. It just sounds like it's going to be happening fast or soon. Upheaval, chaos, revelation, disaster, awakening, release, and sudden insight. I kind of like the sudden insight. Oh, there we go. Sudden insight. You may come across a sudden insight because the Page of Pentacles says manifestation, financial opportunity, skill development, ambition, desire, diligence. Yeah, every day, you're looking for a new job, you're sending in an application, but then also try to get a paid internship, develop a skill, go to night school. In the 1970s and 80s when I grew up, we had our fingers crossed that we could grow up like our parents and, there would just be one breadwinner in the household. But then it turned out you needed to have two around the turn of the century. And now it doesn't matter if you have two breadwinners in the family. You know what? Everybody needs to have two jobs. Or if you have a job, you got to be looking for a new one and developing a skill so you can get a new one. It sure is keeping us busy. So it's going to be a lot of work, it sounds like. But we're talking about sudden insight. You're going to have a sudden insight on how to make this easy. You're going to find something that brings you joy. It's going to be the path of grace and ease. And then you're going to find that opportunity. The path of grace and ease. Don't fight it. If you're fighting, don't spend that energy that way. Aim it towards the path of grace and ease. Next up, oh, nice. Here comes the Knight of Pentacles. We're talking about employment, and this is the guy that I want to hire. The Knight of Pentacles, hard work, productivity, routine, conservation, efficiency, responsibility. Yeah, enough said. I think we catch the drift up there. Next up, all right, the King of Cups. This looks pretty good. The King of Cups, emotionally balanced, compassion, diplomatic, control, balance, supportive leader, tolerance, and empathic. It's so hard when people are going through something challenging. Usually it's like interpersonal, and they hear someone else say, be patient, be diplomatic, be centered, and sometimes it's like, it's outright injuring you. But nevertheless, I would, continue to say, stay cool. Remember the great martial artist Bruce Lee? I never really saw him in any movies like complaining, after getting kicked and hit and punched and all that stuff by 8 guys. Okay, he was always keeping his cool. I would also remind people, especially in the Los Angeles area, of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I believe he is also a black belt, and he would always get like beat up on the basketball court. And unless he was like angry with people not making calls, it's not like he was reacting and getting in fights and things. Anyway, sorry if I went too long on that subject. Let's move on, Ray. Next up, it's the Page of Swords. Have a new way of communicating. Have a new way of thinking. Right. Calmness, the path of grace and ease is going to offer you a new way of communicating, like you're some kind of diplomat. Okay. You work, look at this guy showing up. What a star today. It's the Page of Wands. And the Page of Wands, again, says inspiration, ideas, discovery, limitless potential, free spirit, exploration, excitement, and freedom. This is what you were asking for. When's that going to happen? There's going to be a sudden insight. You're going to find the right path. You're going to work hard at it. And then there's going to be a certain amount of providence and change and a new way of communicating. And I'm sensing that you're going to get where you're going. Let's see what these last 2 cards have to say. And you're kidding me. Oh, yeah, there's the Queen of Wands. She's the zest for life lady. So while you're following your joy and following the path of joy, grace, and ease, okay, enjoy it and, smile. Every day there's going to be a success. I can't tell you. I know I put a good face on. I'm going to come up here for a second. Oh, here's your other card. Yeah. Okay. It was the King of Swords. So even while I was a teacher, which I was for 33 years, and I would be meeting new clientele on campus, okay, and I'm sure it's the same thing here at STARCARD Podcast. I'm sure people are looking at me saying, wow, that guy's got it all together, right? But I made so many mistakes. And that's what helped me learn how to polish what I want to present to the public, whether I was on campus or going to a district meeting or even stepping out in the front yard and going around the neighborhood. So anyway, I had so many job rejections, for example, and it just went on for years. But it's not like something that held me down. It kept me going on the path that I should be on, is what I'm getting at. Thanks for letting me share this stuff. I should be thanking myself, right? Because I'm responsible for STARCARD Podcast. I gave myself this soapbox. Anyway, we're in the middle of your reading, and I was comparing notes, knowing nothing about your situation. So talk about entertainment purposes only. So yeah, have a good time. It's kind of like going in an amusement park or riding your bike on a racetrack with hills and stuff like that. You might take a spill or whatever, but enjoy it. It's fun down here on planet Earth. You can't get this kind of experience anywhere else. And then finally, the King of Swords is all talking about truth. And what do we got here? The King of Swords says, head over heart, discipline, truthful, honest, mental. I think you know what you're doing. I think you already have a plan in mind. Anyway, I hope I'm right about that. I hope that was entertaining and maybe even inspirational. Thanks a lot for inviting me to read. I appreciate it. I love the practice. I like telling the stories for sure. All right, thanks. So let me give these a toss and let's see what's going on. Thanks, Stephanie. Who's next? Okay, so hey, Justice Woman, I do invite you, and I invite anyone, if you would like a private reading, please contact me at the email address in the description. I'll try to help in any way I can, but yeah, for sure, we are trying to, get revved up for the morning on a Friday and try to, aim high on our weekend and our consciousness expansion. But yeah, if there's some way I can help in another way besides just trying to be inspirational. Anyway, enough of that, Breakaway Ray. Let me check my list. Thanks a lot, everybody. I appreciate your invitation. So next up, it is Sun. Hi, Sun. Thanks a lot for inviting me to read. And I want to remind everybody, I know I said this probably a couple of times this week or this month. This is a public forum. You don't have to give me any special details in the chat. I wouldn't want you to. You know, this is your own personal information. So just keep that in mind. No one needs to know your business. But yet, if I spell out a dynamic that helps you, more power to you. That's great. So let's go next to Sun. Sun gets a reading. Hey, Tarot World. Thanks so much for all the helpful messages. Trying to keep everybody inspired. Speaking about inspiration, how about Sun? That's a great handle. Do we have a helpful, fun message for Sun, please? Thank you very much. A message for Sun. These cards are for Sun. Oh, okay. These cards are for Sun. Fun, helpful message for Sun, please. A fun, helpful message for Sun. Thanks. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Ooh, we just crossed the hour mark, huh? All right, we'll be wrapping this up soon. Yay, Justice. Justice talks about cause and effect. And let's see what else it says here. Well, hey, we just did a reading for Justice Woman. This card looks like it's late. Anyway, here's the Justice card for you, Sun. The Justice card for you, Sun. Fairness, justice, truth, clarity, equality, balance, cause and effect, and law. And then next, the Ten of Swords talks about the end of a painful episode. Let's read what it says. Painful endings, deep wounds, betrayal, loss, crisis, failure, collapse, and defeat. But then when you turn the card upside down, the reverse Ten of Swords says, regeneration. You can only go upward from here. It can't get worse. Okay, you're in recovery. The hard times are over. It's cause and effect. And then the Death card says that there's going to be a transformation or a change. It talks about beginnings and endings. That seems like a pretty coherent sentence. There's a cause and effect. A painful episode has ended. There's a new beginning now. Good. That's good news. The Seven of Pentacles. Look at this guy. Greatest farmer ever. Okay. His cabbage patch there is putting forth a lot of pentacles. They all look pretty healthy, well ripened. Let's read what it says on the Seven of Pentacles. Long-term view, hard work, perseverance, diligence, sustainable results, and investment. Next up, the Ace of Wands talks about making your own magic happen. New project, inspiration, urge to create, willpower, desire, power, potential beginnings, new opportunities, and growth. Ooh, more growth, and which you're working hard at. Is it water polo season yet? You do an extra laps in the morning? I would say good for you, but look at you go. Now you got two aces. The Ace of Swords just showed up. So on top of your Ace of Wands, the Ace of Swords says mental clarity, breakthroughs, new ideas. Are you really, you've been imagining something, you're almost right at your goal. You're making magic happen. You're going to have a breakthrough, and it's going to look like luck, says the Wheel of Fortune. But in lots of ways, it was fated, fated, F-A-T-E-D. Hey, Sun, you made that easy and fun and inspirational. We all applaud you. I'm so glad that, the change is coming your way and that you capitalize on this opportunity to make the magic happen. Have a great weekend. All right, Sun. And now, Stephanie. Yeah, we're taking care of Stephanie next. And then Mr. Z. Okay, Stephanie. Yeah, thank you very much, Stephanie. And I appreciate the compliment on the tie. Hi, Johnny. Good to see you there. Cool deal. I haven't forgotten you, Mr. Z. I see you up there on the top. Hey, everybody. These cards are for Stephanie. Let's have a fun, helpful message for Stephanie, please. Thank you, Tarot World. You're bringing us all together. Look, everyone in the chat's making friends, and we're all on different continents. Isn't that kind of cool? I get to go to Europe every day or anywhere on the planet. And then when I click end stream, I get to go to my kitchen and grab a snack. That's pretty awesome. What a fancy world we live in. No way I would have understood this in the 1970s when my telephone was stuck on the wall and you could only stand within the radius that the cord allowed. Anyway, instead of reminiscing, I need to throw some cards for Stephanie. Could we please have a fun, helpful message for Stephanie? Thanks a lot, Stephanie. Here we go. A fun, helpful message for Stephanie. We're really going with 2 cards every time. Good. Okay, great. A fun, helpful message for Stephanie, please. These cards are for Stephanie. A fun, helpful. All right, there we go. Great. Let's see what happens. Ontario, huh? Cool deal. I used to live in Buffalo, New York. I know I've been there. I was in Toronto. Anyway, here we go, Toronto. Read my book. Where's my book? Here it is, everybody. I remember to bring it for the show today. The Convoluted Autobiography. The link is in the description, along with the other book I wrote and published a couple of weeks ago. Let's Go Off Planet with Breakaway Ray. Anyway, I know that Toronto makes an appearance in my book, in the Secret Space Program chapters. Okay, so here I go. Ooh, the Hangman. There's a phrase on here that I like. Viewing things differently than before. The Ace of Pentacles. Abundance, manifestation, opportunity, new career or financial opportunity, new venture. You're viewing things differently than before, and now you see a new opportunity has presented itself, or was perhaps there the whole time. And now, the Four of Swords suggests rejuvenation and relaxation and meditation. One of my favorite activities, taking a nap. That's where I do my best work. And then, oh, wow, check that out. Well, you could look at it the way we're going to look at it at STARCARD podcast. You can, rebuild your reality, in your sleep. We were talking about astral traveling earlier, right? You know how to go into your higher self and negotiate how reality looks. And then you can have a sudden change. But the point is that you can make that happen with your intent. And then it just takes some work, says the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles, diligence, passion, high standards, apprenticeship, mastery, skill development. Well, you know this about, you know how to do it. You're doing it in your sleep. And then finally, if you do it, clarify your intentions. You're going to be sitting like the Nine of Pentacles. You'll be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Olay! Thank you very much for that fun, exciting reading. I appreciate the invitation. Next up. So I apologize, a pinch of salt. You did the right thing by putting the message in the chat. But I just mentioned a moment ago that I'll be calling it, I think, after this last one, because our meeting is now running long, and I don't know how much I got in me. I'm up here for Mr. Z, and I'm going to try to read his message and toss for that. And I apologize. Yeah, but we'll get you next time, a pinch of salt. I usually do this on weekday mornings. Okay, so let me see what that message is again with Mr. Z up there. Okay, so I apologize if your initials are AZ, and I read about your interest in meeting this person, and any information will give you a clue about who it is. So, and I know that not everybody has seen. I know that not everybody has seen a previous episode where I kind of disqualify myself. So let me disqualify myself before I throw this last one. I've only been doing this since March, so I might be making mistakes, right? Also, I'd like to point out that, as much as you enjoy the show and as much as I might be correct and helpful, which is what I'm hoping, okay, I am just some guy on the internet throwing tarot cards. So we all have to use discernment, okay? And now I need to share with you also that there's two subjects that are challenging for me. And one of them has to do with, what we would call romance. And I want to explain that I don't have a lot of experience in that department. So even if I read the cards, I feel like there might be like an issue. So it's not one of my preferred topics. I will definitely, I'm going to throw for you, AZ, and we're going to find out if there's a message for you. The tarot world's not scared. I don't always agree with the tarot world. They may have a message, but, in case there's any new subscribers and they're thinking themselves, maybe Breakaway can give me a hint, I'll do what I can, but I have to disqualify, what I say. It's not something I know about. And then the other thing I would say is, when you're using anything for divination, and maybe if you're using things for divination and you're thinking, well, how can I get lucky? Who's going to win the football game this weekend? What lottery number should I pick? Okay. Or even like, what about this pick I have on the stock market? And I just want to say that I do have an experience with the stock market. And so I'm really reticent to talk about or to divine things about, how the market's going to go or how a product's going to go or any kind of, which horse is going to win the race. So I wanted to make sure in case anyone was listening and still paying attention, those are some of the disqualifiers I want to present in a serious way so that you can use discernment. Nevertheless, the tarot world has a message for AZ. I'm going to throw some cards. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. All right, here we go. So I know the tarot world knows what AZ is interested in. So we're going to send a fun, helpful message for AZ. And I'm pretty sure it kind of goes along with the little sidebars I'm constantly talking about, using your imagination and your intent, visualizing what's going to work for you, follow the path of grace and ease, do what makes you happy. If you're in your happy zone, you're more likely to attract someone to your happiness. And also that person's more likely to enjoy the world that you're in. So choose happiness. And here we go, AZ. Wow. I feel like there's like a new helper in the tarot world every time I turn on the camera each day. These cards are for AZ and a special message related to what we just discussed. Basically meeting someone special. Thank you, tarot world. I bet it's going to be a good message for all of us. I bet it's the same question on a lot of people's minds. It sure has been for most of my life. Anyway, here we go, AZ. Let's see what the message says. The Fool says it's just the beginning. How wonderful. It's a great start. Well, or it's saying, at the beginning, hang on a second here. At the beginning, is that a prepositional phrase? At the beginning, you're going to see things clearly, says the Ace of Swords. And maybe the Six of Cups says it'll be, reminding you of old times. Let's read the cards for you, just in case. The Fool says, new beginnings, possibilities, new beginnings from someone from the past or a past environment, the old neighborhood, someone from your high school graduating class. I'm using my imagination. The Fool, spontaneous optimism, trust in life. Oh, okay. Have trust in life. Have faith, blind faith. Ace of Swords, mental clarity, breakthroughs, new ideas, success, sharp mind, new conflict. I don't know why I said, okay, new conflict, huh? Okay. Well, that's how you know what someone's made of, right? They show their mettle when there's conflict. And then the Six of Cups talks about familiarity, happy memories, reminiscing, childhood memories, innocence, joy, and nostalgia. Oh, so let's take a look at the second row here. Hopefully it's helpful. The Page of Swords talks about a new way of communicating. Okay, to be superficial about it, I bet you never heard of that website before. I don't know what website. I'm just using my imagination. Maybe one will come across your way, but maybe there's a venue in town, nearby. I never thought to go that way. I usually just go this way. So maybe that person's going to be in a new way when you take a new path. The Page of Swords. Let's read what it says. It says, new way of communicating, curiosity, new ideas, and thirst for knowledge. He was at the coffee shop by the library. Wow. I am not scared of the Five of Pentacles, but the Five of Pentacles does talk about isolation and worry. Let's read what it says here. The Five of Pentacles, financial loss, lack of mindset, loss, isolation, worry, need, poverty, insecurity. I want to say that none of those terms sounds like, this is my own personal point of view. None of those terms sounds like the qualities in someone I want to meet. I'm not trying to be mean, okay, but if someone was in that situation, I'm not sure I want to get involved. They need to sort out their issues. Anyway, let's move on. Okay. But it could just very well be talking about the isolation factor. I'm going to use the bigger picture here. If you re-examine the way you're looking at the world, a little bit, take a new way of communicating, gives you a new perspective on things. Okay. I bet a lot of people talk about being alone a lot. I know, like, I have friends who are parents, and those people tell me now, they go, you know what? I have no friends now, because you spend all your time with your kids, for example. So you could feel alone. And now, here we are in the year 2025, everyone's talking on the internet. When we turn off the computer, we're by ourselves. So there is a sense of loneliness we all feel. But at least we have, a way of communicating to each other here at STARCARD Podcast, in the chat, for example. And then, anyway, the Strength card says, be strong, because there's a new opportunity on the way. The Ace of Pentacles. Well, I don't know if that was helpful, but I know that if you program your subconscious, about the kinds of people you want to hang out with, it has a great influence on the events around you. Hey, that was a nice long show. I want to thank everyone for being respectful and kind to each other and to me in the chat. And I appreciate everyone's patience. I hope I was helpful and fun and inspiring. If I was accurate, that's great. But I don't know unless you let me know in the chat. I hope you all have a good weekend. And anyway, as you go through your day, don't forget to look up in the sky so you can see your star. My name is Breakaway Ray. Have a great day.